morning. And what a delightful morning it is. Amen. I see some of you wearing jackets and everything because we can't do that all the time, can we? So we give thanks for the clouds and for the rain that's going to come, and we just say, yes, it's all good. I'm Reverend Brent, and I just want to welcome you this morning to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living, where you are always welcome, because we know that each of you are on your own unique spiritual path. And today we have special treats for you, both the spoken word and music. And we just know and hope that it touches something within you. If you would right now, please turn off your cell phones so they don't interfere with the sound system. And then when you've done that, turn, greet your neighbor, and when you look at them, see God in their eyes. This is happy chatter. And Bodie brings some music to bring the happy chatter to a close for the moment. Bodie will lead us in the opening music and chant.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Followed by Spiritual Mind Treatment by Karyl Ryan. Welcome. Now it's your turn.
Thank you, Reverend Brent. All right. We have such an amazing team of staff ministers at this church. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's just wonderful. So let's all stand up and sing a little bit. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am open. One last time. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening, I am opening. Snap your fingers. I am opening, I am opening.
And please join me in spiritual mind treatment as we are here in this moment, this sacred and holy moment of now, open to receive the gifts and blessings of connection with the divine. And I know that this connection is in all, as all, calling forth the greatest good, the highest possibility, the sweetest expression of love in each and every moment. And as I speak this word of spiritual mind treatment, I invite each one of us to claim this word as our own, to know the deep, abiding, intimate connection with God by whatever name we choose to call it. It is the source, the substance, and the ground of our being. It is in every season, every heartbeat, every breath, every prayer, every act of love and beauty. And it is the I am that I am. And in this, I call forth good and good alone. I accept healing of any discord and an openness to receive the bountiful blessings of the divine in a well-lived life, in the fulfillment of divine purpose, creative expression, solutions, the all good. And I know that this is available to all and to all alike, and so I accept it in mind, knowing that it is even now individualizing itself in each and every one of us, now and always. And this absolute power is present within, finding its outlet as well as its inlet, expanding even now through us as us. And so I give thanks for this. I give thanks for the all good appearing now and always. And in love and gratitude, I release this word into its full expression, unbridled, blessing all. So I let it be. So it is. Amen. Reverend Karyl is guiding a sacred journey in Greece, and we are here in this moment celebrating community, and I'm so grateful for the presence of each and every one of us here. It's my delight to be able to share the announcements of what is going on in this blessed community and to offer gratitude as well. Today, our focus of gratitude is for all of the artistic expression that goes on in this community, and particularly for our connection through social media. This is a new level of our contact with the world beyond the folks that show up here, and we're so grateful for the folks that show up here, but our community is even bigger for our Facebook presence, for our video each week that goes out on YouTube, and the sound, the video, the CD duplication, and all who participate in social media. Let's just offer up some gratitude to that. Yes. And we bless our sweet child today who is participating in youth church, and Selma, his teacher. Thank you for the divine circulation. And, oh, is that a hedgehog? Or porcupine or a hedgehog? Oh, well, we have another little friend. Thank you so much for being here and shining your light. Blessings to you today. Asilomar, how many of us have participated in the fabulous summer camp that goes on each year at Asilomar by the Sea, where, by the way, Reverend Ernest Holmes spoke many, many years ago. And it's where religious scientists from all over the world gather to play and to pray and to deepen spiritual connection and ways of fostering this empowering philosophy. It happens a little earlier this year, July 28th to August 3rd. It's a wonderful summer retreat, and all are welcome. So there's information on the events table. There's still time to sign up for Reverend Karyl's class when she returns from Greece, fully refreshed and with lots of new stories to share. She's also going to be presenting a class called Letting Go of Negative Emotions. It'll take place 3 Thursdays in July, and you can sign up at the education table. If you're new to the philosophy or would like a refresher, July 7th, we offer Quick Start. And this is a free class to really get immersed in the principles of science of mind and how to immediately put them into application in your life. And now, something I'd like to share about next week. So this is time sensitive and something I really hope that we will all participate in. Reverend Karyl is setting up something called Giving Sunday. And it will be similar to a Native American potlatch. It's not food, but objects, something of value in your home that you're willing to release and give to someone else. And we'll have just a wonderful opportunity to demonstrate the law of circulation through giving and receiving. So remember that, to bring something of value that you're ready to let go of next week. I believe that that's it for the announcements. I want to specifically welcome folks who may be here for the very first time, and also to acknowledge that we have some distinguished guests today. Dr. Bob Gale and his wife Marin are visiting. Dr. Bob Gale is the former director of United Centers for Spiritual Living, and Reverend Marilyn Leo? Dr. Marilyn Leo, who directs the Science of Mind archives and personally knew Dr. Ernest Holmes. So how awesome to have our extended family here today. Thank you so much. And now we have special music. I'd like to introduce Blue. Blue has blessed us with his music and his presence before. Many of us are familiar with his sacred gift. Blue's music crosses barriers and penetrates the heart and spirit in unprecedented ways. He plays unrehearsed and in the moment. He brings an intensity and authenticity that is unsurpassed by players of his instrument. Let's welcome Blue. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, exquisite. So our theme for this year is the New World and the Ancient Past, where that convergence comes together within us of sacred lineage and what we are giving birth to, what's coming forth. And our theme this month, represented in the beautiful Celtic cross wheel of life, our theme for this month is practice, spiritual practice. And the word of the day that Reverend Lloyd will be addressing when I introduce him in a moment, I'm so excited, is weeding. And before I bring Reverend Lloyd to the podium, I want to call attention to the beautiful altar provided in love and beauty by Galia Magdalena. And yes. And I spoke to Galia prior to service this morning and asked her about her representation of the theme through the flowers. And she said, well, this is the garden after it's been weeded. This is the flourishing of beauty. And then she shared a story about the power of prayer. She said as she was gathering material for the altar, she had a specific vision in mind of colors and certain flowers. And she went to 3 different places to find them. And her vision wasn't lining up with what was out there. And she had this intent, this positive intent to bring forth this beauty. And then she was at a market. And as she was going into she'd just left, I think, her 3rd stop, frustrated, not finding what she wanted. She saw a woman who was outside and probably in some circumstances requiring some support and some prayer. And she made a personal connection with her, smiled at her, offered her some money. And the 2 of them saw the face of God in each other and said, I love you. And it was right after that she found these beautiful flowers. So it's a little behind the scenes of how we pray and practice and show up in the world. And on that theme, it is my sheer joy and delight to bring to our podium our founding minister. This is the person who had that call from Spirit, that vision, to say, I see a new community for new thought. And it began how many years ago? 31 years ago. And we are still drawing upon those seeds that he planted in the earth. And I know today that he has something wonderful to share with us, because he always does in his inimitable fashion. I welcome Reverend Lloyd, our spiritual papa.
Good morning. My name is Lloyd Tupper, and I am a practicing religious mental scientist. And I have to remind myself of that occasionally, because this is my 46th year in study of the science of mind principles. A week ago, I entered my 75th year on this planet, biologically, but I am still an ageless, deathless beingness of God. So, and I pray that you can all see I am giving some weight away to the children in Biafra and Dutha, because, as my teacher, Dr. Barker, said, never say you are losing weight, because when you say you're losing weight, your subconscious is always looking for what you lost to get it back. Being trained by Raymond Charles Barker was a piece of work, let me tell you. Okay, my talk today, I'm nervous because one of my other mentors, Dr. Robert Gale, who's in the audience and a dear friend, knows everything I'm going to say, as does Dr. Marilyn Leo. because her father was Reginald Armour, who worked for years with Dr. Ernest Holmes, and Marilyn lived next door to them. So we're very fortunate to have their Shakti in the room today. And so I've done something that I'd like to, I don't usually do, but I'd like to read you some of my notes before I get into the main essence of why I am a soul and how I weed the garden of my soul. I'm referred to a lot as the gardener of the soul. When I was down in San Jose and I had that church, which was my last official church, they had a big picture of me in my overalls because I used to live in the schoolhouse out in Freestone. And when Terry Cole Whitaker brought her TV show to San Francisco in 1982, I used to do a 60-minute spot standing in 10,000 daffodils in my overalls and introduce myself as a gardener of the soul, and that if anybody needed any weeding, they should come to the Masonic Temple on 19th Avenue, and I would bring my hoe. And I have to tell you that during those days, 500 people would show up that were not part of our community. So it was quite an exciting period. So today's topic is Reverend Jan. Oh, Reverend. Oh, there. Spirit has told me to say it. I say it. As our wonderful Janet, soon to be a Reverend, has told you, today's lecture is titled Weeding. W-E-E-D-I-N-J. Okay, so I want to read just this so you get a gist of what I'm about to do. When I reflect on my individualization of the life of God as Spirit these past 74 years, and I look at my fellow men and women of like divinity, I ask two questions. Why, number one, why are my daily prayers seemingly at times not answered on time? And two, how can I clear out the weeds and anxiety and doubt and fear when my appearances do not match the picture I have created? I am a mental scientist dealing with absolute proven principles that I know do work, have always worked. I therefore turn to my abiding faith as a religious person and demand of Spirit I find the answers for my demonstrations here, now, and always. I do it for others in my ministerial counseling, and it's high time I do it for myself. That's called divine selfishness. My lecture today is the result of my investigation, given I've discovered I have an affliction, or seemingly lack of demonstration, in two very important areas of my spiritual understanding. One, I must and do cease from praying through existing conditions, call them conditions, secondary causes, or weeds that produce more of themselves as fear, anxiety, and worry. And two, I must always remember, this is going to push the boundaries, but get ready, I am the Christ, the Son of the living God within me. Thus I am speaking not my word, if I do it correctly, but its word, as inspired by its presence in me. Therefore I work with primary causation, and I am not separated from my source, which is the unconditioned cause of all creation. In so doing, I have an intimate companionship with the Spirit. My research into the answers is gladly given to each of you today. They come from Thomas Troward, who, like Ralph Waldo Emerson, is claimed to have inspired 80% of the principles written by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, in the classic text, The Science of Mind. And second, specific affirmations by Dr. Holmes, incorporating the truth of who I am and who you yourself truly are, and what our purpose on this earthly plane, what is our purpose on this earthly plane, and why we must dispense the heavenly good to be successful and fulfilled. Thus we become gardeners of our own soul. We pull up the weeds, the conditions. We bless them, we release them to their native state of no-thingness, more commonly called nothingness. And then we give them a little pat on the bottom, a spiritual goose, and away they go. Let us now begin the gardening of the soul by priming the cosmic pump, i.e., the universal subjective mind in all of us. I do this by dropping in the well of truth so it can reciprocate or respond to me like an artesian well. One such primer is this book, 365 Days of Richer Living. And my personal teacher, Raymond Charles Barker, wrote it with Dr. Ernest Holmes. And I'm going to tell you that you are very fortunate and blessed this day. I see there are a few copies there, but if you do not get one, you can go online to Our Abundant Life, and every day my associate, practitioner, Francine Huss, and myself post this page. She writes an essay on the page, and I do a spiritual mind treatment. So what's your excuse? The cosmic pump must be primed by the truth so that that which is known in universal mind, which you individualize, is brought up to your conscious awareness. There's nothing new. It's all in there. So as Mary Baker Eddy said, you can either get your inspiration from the mortal mind, which like a sewer drains into your consciousness at night while you sleep and during the day when you're unconscious of it happening, or you can take it from the artesian well of truth that is within us all. And by putting some truth in there, and I'm going to give you a little quote of that truth, just like an artesian well, when you put the water down the pipe and you push the handle, up it comes of its own accord. The handle, you take your hand off the handle, and the handle keeps going because the well is gushing up the pure waters of truth. There's not a lot of hard work, like bending over and pulling a weed, or 10,000. But you've got to prime that pump. Now today, for example, which of course, I do try to practice what I preach, except when I don't. And then I have all you wonderful people that have known me for, 46 years to remind me. Here's today. I simplify my understanding of God. June 23rd. Whenever our mind is simple and receives a divine wisdom, old things pass away. Means, teachers, texts, temples fall. It lives now and absorbs past and future into the present moment. Ralph Waldo Emerson. So you start off with that, and then I don't have enough time, even though I am the Spirit, and time and space don't exist for me. I am in a relative form called humanity on the earthly plane, where time does function. But you read this. Now, one of the things that people say is they read it and they don't always understand it. That's really good. Because when you understand everything that you read, you'll transcend. That means die in this human form. We're here to learn, to become self-realized beings, as Yogananda said, and when that day comes, we will no longer have to be here because we will have learned everything that there is to know. We will prayerfully have dispensed it, because that is what we are called in the Sanskrit, the holy dispensers or the measurers of heaven. We dispense the truth. And Ralph Waldo Emerson just did it. Now, a friend of mine, Albert Einstein, had this to say about people who don't think we are what we are. He said, great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. So, what does that mean? What is it relative to a spiritual gardener of the soul? Don't run out here and tell your friends what you think and what do they think about what you believe, because they're apt to tell you. Those are mediocre minds that don't appreciate the truth. You people do. You're all spiritual artisans, aren't you? You all go to the canvas of life daily after you've primed the pump that is fortunately blank every morning, and you don't have to paint by numbers. You paint by mystical inspiration. Amen. Now, one other quote by, I know that you ladies love this when I talk about Emma. She says, now remember, she said it, I didn't say it. But I believe it. Most people are ill-made and weak-brained. She was one of the great leaders of our early movement. Okay, so I want to reawaken you this morning. I've read this about once a year here, whenever allowed. Karyl has me on a tight leash. But guess what? She's in Mykonos. I got an email from her last night. And I had Mel tie her down. So she wouldn't send me an email and say, please keep to the time limits. Please keep to the time limits. So since I called you all spiritual artisans who are learning how to weed out those things that block our good, I want to read you something from one of my favorite poets who was born on the other side of Walden Pond from where I was born in Melrose, Massachusetts. He was born in Walden area, Concord. Reawaken, fellow spiritual artisans. For morning, today, is when I am awake and there is a dawn in me. We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn, which does not forsake us in our soundest sleep. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of humankind to elevate their life by conscious endeavor. When you prime the pump, when you read something, when you understand what you're doing, or don't understand what you're doing, but you do it because I told you, and you're fearful if you don't do what Lloyd told you to do, you'll go directly to hell. That's when it works. To make you do it. To make you do it. Us Catholics can appreciate that, former Catholics. It is something, my pants are dropping down. Hold on there now. It is something to be able to paint a particular picture or to carve a statue and so to make a few objects beautiful. All right now, everybody's attention. But it is far more glorious to carve and paint the very atmosphere and medium through which we look and think, to affect the quality of the day. That is the highest of arts. Yeah. Henry David Thoreau. And since Emerson is writing all the introductions in this wonderful book, and the website that Francine and I and her husband Phil created called Our Abundant Life, free, you don't have to pay anything, you just have to go and get on. The world is young, the former great men and women call to us affectionately, for we too must write Bibles to unite again the heavens and the earthly world. The secret of genius is to suffer no fiction to exist for us, meaning a lot of these nonsense theologies. To realize all that we know in the high refinement of modern life, in arts, in sciences, in books, in men and women, to exact good faith, reality, and a purpose, and first, last, midst, and without end, to honor every truth by use. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The previous one was by Henry David Thoreau. Okay, now I can give you my sermon. That's called a setup. One of the most difficult things for any of us, and yours truly is included in this, is to trust in a basic principle that absolutely is the truth. And that is this: we think into a universal, subjective intelligence, which we call mind. We individualize that mind within ourselves. So, as a result of that, we have what's called an individualized, subjective mind. But it is part of the universal mind, which we call the intelligence of the all-originating Spirit, called God, Yahweh, and all the other names that human beings have attributed to this infinite, all-originating Spirit. It does not have a body. It is all-powerful, all-intelligent, and everywhere at the same time. And you and I are the temple of its living presence. Like it or not, swallow that pill. Because as I told you, in the ancient Sanskrit, we are described by the letters MN, MN, which means man, woman. And then it defines our role as to why we are incarnated in the likeness to act on behalf of that which we call the all-originating God. Because God, being the universal, cannot act on what's called the plane of the individual or the particular. So God, in its infinite wisdom, contemplated itself and created in its likeness in those who are called the children of God, the chosen people of God, and the heavenly dispensers of God, because ultimately in the Sanskrit and in all the scriptures in the Judeo-Christian Bible, you will find that we are called the Word. We are the Word. And in the opening of the scriptures, it says, God created the heavens and the earth by the Word, and nothing was made except by the Word. So God is the all-originating Word, and we are the individualization of that Word, and we are here, as the Sanskrit says, to dispense the heavenly good. We are called measurers of that good. So we're all called. I mean, I was called in 1967. This is my 46th year in knowing who I am and what my purpose is, and making a valid attempt to practice it. And the only way I can practice it is to live it. And do I always live it to its fullest potential? Absolutely not. I am convinced, beyond a question of a doubt, absolutely convinced, that the man called Jesus, who achieved Christ consciousness, fell on the way of the Via Dolorosa, which is the Calvary, 3 times, purposely, to teach me and to teach you that we always have the capacity, when we're not paying attention, to get up, dust ourselves off, and get on with it. Only the difference is we don't have to get on the cross, although many of us do. Sometimes in some programs it's called the pity pot. We don't have to do that. He did that for us. But what he also did, when anyone said about the great so-called miracles, I call a miracle a phenomena. I was talking to my partner, Francine Huss, the other day on our way to the symphony. She was driving me. You see, I've reached that age now where I have a chauffeur. She's very lovely. She's very pretty. And she believes everything I tell her. So much good. Anyhow, I believe that if we do not fulfill our purpose, we will get weeds, so to speak, in our soul, and we will not be able to produce through the primary causation, which is the principle of the creative process, because we have all those other conditions that we bring forward and that multiply themselves, and thus what we are doing is we are making more worry, anxiety, and fear because we have not gotten to the root level of what the creative process is. So my lesson for you today is this. I'm going to hand out just before the offering, because I believe in giving before getting. I am going to hand out to you two of the major principles of what I'm speaking. One by Thomas Troward and one by Dr. Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind. When you read them, and remember what I said about going to hell, when you read them, and you can choose when you read them, remember, you do not have to understand everything you read, but you can accept on my soul that it is absolute truth. And there is that within you which will respond to you. Troward says, when you read truth, he doesn't say this, I do. Even if you don't consciously understand it, the Spirit reciprocates and bears witness. It sees, and it says, this is one of my beloved. I shall bear witness to their evolution as human beings, and now they're reawakening as divine incarnations of me. You. You can't go through life, for God's sake, wondering why you're here, or what your purpose is, or praying through your conditions. You have to let all of that go. Whatever you prayed for yesterday, let it go. And get into primary cause, which is the absolute cause, which is spirit in action by means of its creation, called the law of mind as intelligence. We work. We are scientists. We identify the principles of creation. We identify why our prayers get answered. We show you, we teach you, and we strive to live it. And every person in this room will suffer if you do not live up to why you are here. You will not be fulfilled. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. I've made more money in my lifetime and given it away through my ignorance and stupidity than most people probably will make in 10 lifetimes. But I'm still here, and I know there's no lack in spirit, for spirit is substance, and substance is God. And money is spirit as substance in a temporal form to which we have given agreement of value. My God, am I glad this is being recorded. I need to hear it. This is good. This is good. And I am not channeling Karyl, or I'd be speaking in Greek. All right. I gave you 2 studies. You don't have to try to understand it. Remember what I'm saying. There is that within you which is individualized, the mind of God. It knows everything. You prime it with what I told you to read. Don't read both sides, because one's by Troward, and Troward's a little heady like Lloyd, and that, that's enough to digest. You can read one sentence. Now, admittedly, Troward's one sentence usually runs 4 pages, but I've summarized it down for you. Then on the other side, there's Dr. Holmes. Remember I said Troward influenced Dr. Holmes with Emerson? Okay, you'll see Troward appear in the two quotes I gave you from Dr. Holmes. And guess what? They say the very same thing. Ernest says it in simpler language. Troward says it in more articulate language, but it all comes down to the same thing. Don't pray through the weeds. Every day you read the truth and you clear the weeds and you replant the good seed in the soil, a metaphor for the soul. And the good seed and the soul, because the soul has been washed clean like during the night, because it has gone to the well and it has drank the waters of the high excelsior, which means spirit, and it has been washed clean. Nothing exists now. None of those old conditions, they only exist in your head. But your soul is pure. It's been furrowed. The seed is ready, the good seed, and the waters are forthcoming from the Spirit. Do you get it? Okay, last, but certainly not least, because you know me, being the loquacious, wonderful, brilliant, good-looking, thinning, inspired being of God that I am. I've given you something to put by your bed. It's not me. Well, you can fantasize. You can say, he wrote this, maybe. Okay. Here are two affirmations. You can cut this one, see, I've got two of them on here, in half. And this is what's going to do the job. Because the last thing you do at night and the first thing you do in the morning is you, before your feet hit the ground, even if the baby's screaming and your husband wants to know where the coffee is and the kids need their lunches and the dog needs whatever he needs or she needs. No. These are your precious moments, as Ernest would say, of privilege. And no one's going to give them to you if you don't take them. And if you don't take them, the Spirit will pout. And you don't want a pouting spirit following you around all day. Okay, so here they are. You can fold them in half. You can cut them in half. One for the morning, one for the night. And this is what will push your boundaries. This is what will pull the weeds. And this is what will cultivate the soul. I'm going to read them, and then I'll be complete. To be read the first thing in the morning and the last thing at night. The mantle of Christ is upon my shoulders. The word of truth is in my hands. The breastplate of righteousness protects me from all evil. I show forth the glory of my inner Christ, and whoever thinks of me receives a benediction of illumination. The whole Spirit of God in full action through me, and I have courage to do that right and loving thing at all times, under all circumstances. His mind and her mind, because I believe God as the mother-father principle, is mine. Their love beats in my heart. The contagion of true holiness is tremendous. I share my God with my world. Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. And here's the one you can do at night. It's going to push you even further. I am the Christ, the son, daughter of the living God within me. This inner mind of mine is now divine and complete. It has no worries and no fears. It is whole, complete, and satisfied. I look back, this is a toughie, I look back over all previous experience and find that it was good and very good. Meaning you've done your forgiveness work of yourself and others. I look forward to the future and find that it is good and very good. I look at the present and find that it is also good and very good. God is in, all, over, all, and through all. And then you repeat, I am the Christ, the son, daughter of the living God within me. I am the spirit of confidence. I am poised in love and reason. I am the perfect law and truth and the complete presence of beauty. I am the Christ, the son, daughter of the living God within me. Ernest Holmes, The Science of Mind. Now, friends, after 46 years in New Thought, I've learned a thing or two. And I am a late bloomer. I'm not a particularly quick learner. I just recently got on the iPad and the world started crying. I'm now addicted. I take it to bed with me. And that's about as much as I'm going to tell you. But you don't need to wait for your good. You don't need to go to a place called heaven and stop momentarily 5 million years or so in purgatory, or directly, as Dante would say, to the fires of hell. That's all theology, and frankly, begins with B, S. I knew you'd like that, Bob. You are the living temple of the living presence. You were born to image forth the likeness of God through the Word. And you have it in you. It's already there. Maybe it's untapped like mine was for a long time, but I stand before you boldly and tell you I am a student of truth. And when I tell you the truth, and I tell myself the truth, I'm set free in it. That's why I am a spiritual artisan who practices, thank you God, the principles of the science of mind. Good morning. Thank you. Oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. Thank you. Do I have anything else to do, Jen? Oh, yes I do, yes I do. I have asked the ushers now. Oh yes, you do music first. But after the music, the ushers are going to pass out the study principle and the affirmations, so that we give you something before we ask you for something. See, then you have an expectation. Okay. Your beautiful music.
Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful offering. And Blue has CDs so that you can take this sacred music home with you. So the ushers are now distributing the flyers, or do you all have them already? Did they go out? Paula? Okay. So maybe start from the back and come forward and hand out the readings that Reverend Lloyd is so generously sharing with us. And could you use some extra hands to get those distributed, Paula? Okay. So those of you who are ready can prepare your gift as well, because this is in the spirit of circulation, receiving and giving forth and receiving, it's all one thing. Yes? Do the best we can. We'll put the extras over on the... So extra copies are being placed at the newcomers table. So if you did not receive 2 sheets, we can take care of that at the end of service. So I'm going to ask the ushers to come forth. Come forward, please. Just a moment. And so now is our time of sacred giving. And just take a moment to reflect on something that you have touched into today in the message or the music. As you connect with your heart, infuse your gift with love and gratitude. This principle of life flourishing touches your gift, the gift touches others, and touches every aspect of life in this flow, this divine circulation. And now, the ushers prepare to receive the gifts. Thank you.
I am as God created, in the light, in the love, in the glory. I am as God created, in the light, in the love, in the glory. Love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, I am. In the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, I am. I am as God created, in the light, in the love, in the glory. God created, in the light, in the love, in the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, I am. In the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, in the light and the love and the glory, I am. As God created, in the light, in the love, and the glory.
So I've asked Reverend Lloyd to bless the offering.
So I take take a moment and place my hand upon this infinite substance, which is God, temporally in the form of money by agreement of value. I acknowledge the giver, and I acknowledge we as the receiver, who take these funds and place them into circulation to do good for all and harm to none. And I add, to those who have given, much more will be given, because you are the chosen people. And those who are chosen choose to be chosen. That is what you are. You have chosen. And now you are a dispenser of one of God's heavenly good. We bless you. We thank you. We rejoice by means of you, and we let it be so. And so it is. Amen.
So it is. Thank you.
Can I say one thing? There are 2 sheets. Some of you only got one. One is the study principle. The other one is the 2 affirmations. So if you did not get them both, they'll be out in the foyer or wherever. And be sure and pick them up, because don't take 2 of the same thing. One is an affirmation, one is a study principle. Thank you. That's my 2 bits.
Yes. Thank you. And let's acknowledge Reverend Lloyd once again.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And a happy birthday. And now I call forth the practitioners who are in service today, and for everyone to know that each and every Sunday you have the opportunity to be lifted in prayer, that any weeding of your garden that you may wish to do is skillfully done by these trained spiritual artisans. They're available offering loving service today. And the rest of the practitioners, please enfold the community with your love as we turn inward for the closing prayer. And in this moment, I acknowledge the gift of life that is always offering itself to us, through us, all around us. For truly we do live in the rich garden of the divine. And I call forth all manner of blessings, just as a flourishing garden is nourishing, opulent, lavish. I call forth the openness to receive the gifts individually, personally, and also to offer forth the gift of our presence in this world through our light, through our love, through our word, through our kindness and compassion, through our inspiration. I know that God is in this as it is in all. And so I rest assured that these gifts are flourishing throughout the world as we know the truth of our being. I give thanks for all that we have received this day, and knowing that it is blossoming even now, I give thanks and let it be, and so it is. Blessed be. And so now, the closing affirmation and closing song. If you would join me in this affirmation, I'll read one line, and then we'll repeat together. I am free from conditions, past, present, or imagined future. My prayer is always, all things are possible in God. God lives in the eternal moment. I am free to direct its power. I create in an unencumbered and powerful way. On this truth I rest in complete and absolute certainty.
On this truth I rest in complete truth and certainty.
Blessed be.